Since the birth of mankind, man has often used idols to worship God and practice religion. The vast majority of religions have used idols to worship God or associate deities with Him. We can understand this when we travel the world and visit the sites or religious buildings of religion that have disappeared or still exist. And these sites or buildings attract many tourists. And it is also obvious that atheist people, or people who do not belong to any religion, will have more sympathy for idolatrous religions rather than for monotheism, in which no representation of God is made. It has always been easier for human beings to practice a religion in which others are associated with God and represented as a statue or idol. Maybe it's more difficult to believe in a God that we can't imagine and that we can't represent. Maybe it takes more faith. But Islam is not the only religion that prohibits the use of idols to worship God. It is also a commandment that can be found in Christian and Jewish scriptures. We can see this command from God in the 10 Commandments that were given to Moses. It is the second of the 10 Commandments. And it can also be found in several chapters of the Bible, and it's said this way. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. And it must be said that the Jews do not carve idols to worship them, except the incident that happened when they forged the golden calf in the days of Moses, before which they bowed down and which nearly caused their losses. Christians are divided on this subject. Most Protestants are against it, while Catholics and Orthodox Christians, as we can see in their churches and cathedrals, are very into the use of idols. And yet, if we take a little interest in the Bible and the prophets mentioned therein, we quickly realize that many are the prophets who were against that and fought that. For example, Abraham, his history is the same in the Bible as we can see in the Quran. Everybody knows the story of Abraham and that he destroyed the idols that his people would worship. Islam has always prohibited the use and worship of idols, because the life of the Prophet and the birth of Islam took place among a people who worshipped idols. But many other prophets carried the message among idolatrous peoples, like the prophet Noah, Moses and Abraham. But the representation of God and the worship of idols is what Muslims call Shirk. And Shirk is one of the most serious sins, as the Quran teaches us. The making of idols for the purpose of worshipping them, or associating men as sons of God, is Shirk. And both are associationism and idolatry. The Quran tells us this is something that God does not forgive. إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ويغفر ما دون ذلك لمن يشاء ومن يشرك بالله فقد افترى إثما عظيما. Indeed, Allah does not forgive association with Him, but He forgives what is less than that for whom He wills, and he who associates other with Allah has certainly gone far astray. So, shirk is something we should stay away from. As a Muslim, even if we do not pray for a statue and only pray to Allah, we are not necessarily immune to this. You must know that some Sheikh and Muslim scholars think that associating Muhammad with Allah in the Shahada is also shirk. They think that it appeared after the death of the Prophet 100 years later, and that the original Shahada did not mention the Prophet. They think the original Shahada is La ilaha illallah la sharika lahu, the Shahada as it is engraved in the Mosque of Jerusalem. But there is also the fact of saying Sayyidina Muhammad, which means our Master Muhammad, because a Muslim must have only one master, and this master can only be God. It is not our intention, but can it be considered as shirk? Allah alim. May God guide us and keep us away from associating anyone or anything with Him.